Hello and welcome to the Terror Express. I'm Jason Bradford. I'm here with Dave Miller. You may recognize him as Mr. Savage from 13 Fanboy. He is involved with a lot of promoting and supporting of 13 Fanboy and other horror projects. We're going to talk to Dave today about his love for horror and some of his favorite movies and anything he wants to talk about. We're just going to head off in that horror fun direction here. How are you, Dave?
I'm good, Jason. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Thank you for being here. And thank you also for being part of my promotional team. I really, really appreciate everything that you do. And I think that even in the horror community in general, what you do is phenomenal. I think you're a very distinguished horror fan.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about how you got involved with 13 Fanboy and what led you to get down to New Mexico.
Well, the honest truth is I've been friends with Ron Sloan for almost 20 years now. And a few years ago, it must have been 2018, my wife and I did a fairly lengthy motorcycle trip. We did a 6,600-mile trip for our 65th birthday.
Nice.
And one of our stops in going out west was to stop at Ron's house in Sedona. And we stayed there a few days. Well, of course, we knew that Ron had been in, Friday 13th, New Beginning, Part 5. And we often joke about him losing his head and whatnot. So while we're there, he's telling me that he's going to be in another movie. And I knew he hadn't really been in much of anything in quite a while. So we got talking about, in very general terms, what it was. And I thought it was cool as hell that he was going to get a chance to, be in something. So I guess I was home 3 weeks and I saw something on Facebook where you could, as a fan, you could get into the movie or whatnot. So I talked to Nancy about it. And I said, but I don't know if this is legit or not, So I called up Ron. And I said, Ron, I'm looking at this thing on Facebook. It sounds like the thing that you're going to be in, but is this legit? And he goes, yeah, but don't do anything. Okay, don't do anything. What do you want me to do? He says, do nothing. I'll call you back. All right. So I waited, about 5 minutes later, he called me back and he said, Deborah Voorhees is going to call you. And at that time, I wasn't really certain who Deborah was. And so I said, who's Deborah? And he says, well, she's the producer and the director, and she's going to call you. And I'm like, okay. Well, geez, 5 minutes later, I'm on the phone with Deborah and started talking about the movie. And at that time, Ron thought that I might be a police officer who gets killed, who you're familiar with that, or a janitor who Chris is familiar with that.
Yeah.
And so Deborah kept on playing with things that I could do. And I guess it was, I don't know, maybe a month or so later, she called me up and she said, how'd you like to be Tracy Savage's husband?
Who wouldn't?
Like, great. What do I do? And she said, all you got to do is be dead. I figured I probably can handle that.
Yeah.
So that's where that all started. I mean, it was that connection to Ron that really opened up that door. Because I mean, Nancy will say, neither one of us ever had being in a movie on our bucket list. It just sort of happened that way.
How was it watching?
It was cool.
How was it watching it back on the big screen to see you, Nancy, up there?
It was, well, the hard part was, and I'm sure you did the same thing. First time you watch it, it's like, well, there's Jason and there's Christopher and there's this one and there's that one.
It's like seeing family members up there.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, now I got to watch it again to really watch the movie and see the stuff that I missed. So it takes about 3 times for me, at least, to get to where I'm actually just watching a movie.
Yeah.
Trying to ignore the fact that I know half the people that I'm looking at on screen.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna lie, that's a little distracting in a good way. It's distracting in a good way because there's such amazing people attached to that project that you remember all the good things they did or said or joked around about. And
and
you,
especially a lot of the fans, because you know, a lot of the fans did a lot of background work in that. I mean,
oh yeah,
setting up
yeah,
props
yeah,
and everything else. So you're catching glimpses of them as the movie's going on in certain scenes, and then those that had a little bit more um, pronounced. What's the word I'm looking for, Jason?
well,
A
kind of
little
like
bit,
features.
yeah, a little bit more feature than some of the others, like you and myself, and or it was like it was really cool, seeing.
Yeah.
Of course, the hard part was holding off, not showing anybody
Oh,
pictures, not
that
showing,
that
not
was so
talking
hard.
about it.
Now that the magazine is out, I've been sharing some.
Well, I threw some stuff when I shared the interview with Nora. I put a couple pictures of her doing my makeup.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about was Nora. I just interviewed Nora, and who did the practical effects for the July shoot of 13 Fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
She carves 13 on your forehead. Was that how did she do that? Was that a prosthetic? How did she put that 13?
Well, being that I've got so much hair up there, I think all she did was just literally draw it, and
Oh, wow.
whatever bloody thing she was using, there was there was nothing artificial there. It was just the number 13 that she
looked like
drew
a
there.
pretty
Yeah.
monstrous laceration. She did phenomenal for drawing that on there. I thought there was appliances or something that she used.
No appliances at all. No.
See what we learned?
Pardon?
Let's see some amazing things that you learn here.
Yeah. No, I mean, and just we had watched Face Off.
Yeah.
My wife started watching the first show, and she said, "You got to watch this." And I'm like, "Why?" She says, "No, just watch it with me one time."
Right.
One time, and I was hooked. I mean, these are amazing talented people. And I remember when Nora came on in season 9, after about 3 or 4 shows, we were both pretty well convinced that she's going to be a finalist. She's going to make it there. And yes, I mean, she's amazingly talented.
If you watch the scene where Kelsey Voorhees is teaching self-defense in the gym class, look for the student wearing the sun visor there. That's our Nancy.
And let me tell you a story about that.
Yes.
The visor. She really wanted to be in the movie more. So we knew Ron was filming in January. She called up Ron and said, "Is there any way that I can be in line to get your autograph or something like that?"
Yeah.
And he said, let me check with Deborah, see what I can do. So he calls her back and he says, "Deborah said you can be my handler."
Nice.
But Deborah said you can't wear your visor. And Ron said to Deborah, "I've never seen Nancy without a visor on, ever." So that was her, because if you look at the end of the movie, or during the convention scene, where she's Ron's handler, no visor.
No visor.
And
how did she feel? How did she feel without her trademark?
Naked.
Yeah.
She just, because I mean, she's always. She gets up in the morning. She got to put some. She puts a visor on, and she wears it in the house. It's always got it. So that was sort of funny.
Outside of 13 Fanboy, what other horror movies do you love? What are your favorite horror movies?
Oh, favorite.
Or most watched?
Certainly, The Thing.
With Kurt Russell. 40th anniversary going on right now.
I just watched that a couple of weeks ago. The Fog would be another one that I enjoyed.
That's one of mine. Yeah.
Aliens scared the hell out of me.
Yes.
That was probably the first horror alien kind of movie that really had some amazing costuming of the alien creature was like, holy crap.
Oh yeah.
Because I grew up in a period, I watching TV in the 50s and 60s and watching Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney Jr. Mm-hmm. And then probably one of the bigger special effects movie was The Blob with Steve McQueen. The original Thing, which who played the Thing in the original Thing.
No, I don't.
James Arness.
Who's that?
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon. James Arness played the original Thing.
I did not know that.
Yep, the Thing from outer space. That was James Arness that played that role.
Nice.
And then one of my wife's all-time favorite movies is Them with the giant ants.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. I love the sci-fi from the 50s and 60s.
And that stuff, a lot of the stuff that was coming out in the 50s and early 60s, between Roswell and everything else that had happened and us blowing up nuclear bombs all over the place in the Southwest, you had all kinds of crazy movies come out. The Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and the giant lizard movies, and and everything else.
I love the cheese and the camp of those films set in that era. I think Ridley Scott and John Carpenter really are trailblazers for modern sci-fi.
Absolutely, because they're the ones that really, they're the ones that really opened your eyes up. Wide eyes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff, the slasher movies. I've probably, I watched probably. I'm saying early on, a lot of the Halloween movies and the Friday the 13th movies, Jeepers Creepers.
Yes.
And some of the other crazy things, because Nancy also likes science fiction movies. In the old days, Sci-Fi Channel, they always had crazy movies on every Friday night. They had a new stupid movie that was.
Oh yeah, do you remember Saturday Night Double? It was a double chiller feature that they had with like Sir Grace Ghastly and that campy hosting, like Elvira type.
Yep.
What do you think of today's movies post 80s compared to pre 60s, whether sci-fi or horror?
Too much CG today.
Oh, I hate CG.
Especially
if it's being used as blood. I hate CG.
Too much CG, too much. You go watch a movie and it seems like 3/4 of it is let's blow something up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have massive explosions. Let's have crazy car chases. And it's like, I much rather get into the characters,
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I love the camp.
That to me is, even if it's, and it doesn't have to be a major role. Even a smaller role. You look at a lot of the Friday the 13th movies, but there isn't a lot of people that had big roles. They're all, they had their little blocks, but you take like Ron Sloan in The New Beginning. First time I watched it, I laughed my ass off, and he was hilarious.
See, and I think that's funny, because the first time I watched it, I was terrified at the scene where Ethel and Junior were killed. I was 11 or 12, and I had an experience at the drive-in at that scene that scared the shit out of me. But those memories stay with you. It becomes part of the reason why you love a franchise, because it's sentimental.
Well, yeah, you have that. It's like the same thing with me with stuff that I watched with the older actors, the Bela Lugosi's and Karloff's and Lon Chaney's. I can remember being 11, 12 years old and staying up until, stupid hours in the morning, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, watching movies. And then I was terrified to turn the lights off.
Yeah. See, in America, there's only been a few movies that have done that to me. American Werewolf in London was one. The second Friday the 13th was one. Probably the third. Slumber Party Massacre scared the shit out of me when I had to keep changing the channel and going back to it with all of those movies. When you're a kid, they terrify you. And that's another reason why you fall in love with them.
Well, it is. And you go back and watch them today and you're like, what was I so afraid of? But, you're much more impressionable. I think Alien, I was, when that came out, 76, 77, something like that.
Yeah.
I was 23, 24 years old. I don't know how many times I damn near jumped out of my chair in that movie. It was just so well done before you saw anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know, the suspense built up was tremendous.
Yeah.
And then you'd have that fall down where, oh, it was nothing. Then you got used to nothing. And then all of a sudden there it was, and, you know, scared the hell out of you.
I noticed you've made a lot of references to some of the greats in the sci-fi genre. And you mentioned Roswell earlier. Do you believe that there are there's life out there in the universe other than on Earth?
Absolutely.
Have you ever experienced anything that was made you
I have
think
not.
that yes?
I have not. Nancy has. She's damn near positive that she saw a UFO.
Yeah.
Back when she was, I don't know, probably a teenage, mid-teens, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Back in upstate New York. I've never had anything like that. But I mean, you look up in the sky at night, you see a billion stars, and I just can't believe that we are the only planet out there that has intelligent life.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I just not possible.
If you were expected to see another alien form, just based off of, I don't want to say based off of any films that you've seen, any any notions that you may have from that, but what would you expect an alien life form to be if you came face to face with it?
I guess probably some type of humanoid type of thing. You know, I don't think I would picture, you know, like some intelligent octopus coming out of a spaceship. You know, I guess I'm picturing something on two legs and you know, something like that. But would it be human looking like us? No, I don't think it would be. I'm not sure what it would be, but I'm not being expecting, you know, a real human form. I think more the body, whether it's short or tall or whatnot, but more like, you know, two legs, two arms, and a head.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind at the end with Dreyfus and Melinda Dillon standing watching the spaceship land, and all these aliens are coming out with the tall, thin bodies. That's what I'm picturing now as I listen to you. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily with the iconic alien face with the big black eyes, but definitely that kind of slender humanoid build, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, I think we've taken the Roswell picture of what an alien is, and that's everywhere. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Do you have anything planned that you do in around Halloween or in October to celebrate the Samhain?
We usually do up the house pretty good at Halloween, and Nancy and I are always in some kind of costume when the kids are coming to the door.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, sometimes it's you know, pretty funny, and sometimes it's. I had one time where I was sitting on the front porch and I had a werewolf costume on with a full head werewolf and you know, a shirt and a fur coming out. And I was just sitting there. I wasn't even moving. And all of a sudden the kids would look over and they'd come over to me and you know, touch me. And I'd move my head fast. They would jump. The little kids are the ones that are the most fun though, and I think when they come to the door, they're not expecting, you know, they're expecting an adult or somebody else just to hand them candy. But we've always got, you know, something. I forget what it was last time. Some type of phantom in a cape with a weird mask on.
That'd be fun. My daughter and I do some kind of a theme every year. Last year it was post-mortem photography.
What happened to a couple of the things that you were involved in? There was a Western themed.
Yeah, there was a Western that we were going to do. It was originally called the Gun, the Badge, and the Hangman's Noose, and it got changed to one of the core title characters in there was named Golden Tooth, and they changed it and revolved around that character. That got put on the back burner. Vanessa's working on other things. She didn't say she would. She said she wasn't necessarily stepping away from that. She just doesn't know what was going to happen with it. I
Right.
do a few films I did some voiceover work for. I did um, a film called Brain Hunter, 1987. There was another one called Z Dead End where I played a news reporter, and I did
Mm-hmm.
some demon voiceover work for A Bloody Nun with Christy Medlin Fontenot.
Cool.
So we got to work together voiceover wise in that. She's
Cool.
someone I
That's
was really
good.
looking forward to working with again, who was also in 13 Fanboy.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I believe she was Dee's handler, or was that Noelle? Anyway, but yeah, so those are some of the things that I have going on. I'm doing mostly graphic work right now for
Good.
posters and stuff like that.
Good. Yeah. Like I said, I've the past 4 months, I've just sort of been trying to recover from the surgery, and
Yeah,
it was the
Yeah.
first 5 weeks were hell because I was sleeping in a recliner. I couldn't.
Oh, I bet.
I couldn't lay down. I couldn't. There wasn't very much I could do on my own. Thank God I got my wife.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how you would, life's victories when, hey, I can put my own socks on now.
Yeah, those things you take for granted when you're able to do it, but as soon as that's taken away from you, it's traumatizing.
It was weird. So yeah, we I know we went to the Day of the Dead convention back in Atlanta, 2 years and 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Tony was out there. Lisa Perez was there. Christy. We went down. They called up. They said, "How far are you from Atlanta?" I said, 3 hours. Why? We're going to be at the Day of the Dead convention. I'm like, when is it? We'll come down. So we had a good time.
Yeah. They're a great group of people. It's definitely enriched my life and my existence, being able to know them and interact with them and yourself and your family. It's the horror community is just it's an amazing group of people.
It was I think that was the thing that got me the most, as far as how people came together in July when you were out there. And then we had the benefit of being out there again in January.
Yes.
And to just see how people just clicked, and it didn't make a difference whether you were, Dee Wallace was a delight.
Mm-hmm.
But whether you were one of the actors or just one of the fans or the cameraman or who it was. And it was, matter of fact, Deborah Voorhees' husband, Rich, came up to me and said, "This is like one big family." And I said, "Yeah, it really is." I mean,
it really is. Yeah.
It was really cool. Really cool.
Yep. It was unforgettable. Now I'm honored to be a part of that with you.
I couldn't be more honored to have been part of it with you. We had a good time.
Yes, we did. We sure did. Unforgettable.
I remember meeting you the first time, and you introduced yourself. I said, "Hi, Jason." You said, "No, call me Bradford. There's 2 Jasons here."
Yes, West. Yes, that happened the first day on set. Every time someone said Jason, we'd both go, "What?" So we became Bradford and West on the set very, very quickly. But you can call me Jason now. The Bradford could be dropped. But I think
I enjoyed this.
Yeah, absolutely. I did too. Hope to have you on again. So.
I would love to.
Yes. I would love to have you back. Absolutely. But
all righty, man.
You take care and give my love to your family for me, and tell them all I said hello and that I hope to see them in March.
We'll do that.
All right, Dave.
Bye now. Hi, honey. I got your message. I want you to know that I did change your cell phone number, and hopefully that'll keep that crazy fanboy stalker person away from you the rest of the time. And by the way, I did run into someone here.
Hey, Tracy, it's Troy. Your husband was telling me all about your crazy fanboy. Don't worry about it. I'm going to make sure that you're safe at work, you and your students both. So if any crazy stalker wants to get to you, they're going to have to come through me first. So anyway, I'll see you at work on Monday, all right? All right, take care.
Well, I'm really happy that I ran into him, and knowing that he'll be keeping a close eye on you at work. So you take care, babe, and I'll see you later, okay? Bye-bye.